I was browsing through one of the big box stores the other day, and I ran across one of these Jorgensen planes. This is a little block plane, a number 102. Now, a little bit of history about Jorgensen. They were a Chicago-based company, and for decades, and maybe over 100 years, they produced some of the finest quality clamps for woodworking that you could buy. They were all made in the U.S. At some point during the last several years, they went out of business. Somebody else bought the name and the rights, and now their products are being produced overseas. Obviously, they're trying to get into the hand plane market, but I'm not sure what the quality is like, so on a whim, I bought it, and I decided I'm going to take it apart and check it out and see how well it performs. Now, the original Stanley model is shown here. As you can see, it's got a lever cap, but there's no adjustment at all for the blade depth. This model here is sold by Lee Valley. Same thing here, it's got a wheel on the back that tightens up against the blade to hold it into the plane. But again, there's no adjustment for the blade depth. So what I've discovered with these, if you don't have an adjustment, is that you can use a small brass hammer or a small wood hammer to just tap the blade until you get the depth you want. Now, what I like about this one already is that it has a depth adjustment knob on the back. So I'm going to see how well that works. We're going to take this apart, we're going to sharpen it, and we're going to see over the next few days how well it performs in the shop. So I've used this plane for a few days now, and I just kind of wanted to give my final thoughts on it. Overall, I have to say that I'm pretty impressed. The fit and finish are excellent. The blade seems to have been flattened pretty well. There was a little bit of a divot in it, but we got that out with a quick sharpening. The bed is machined nicely, and I noticed that when the blade is in and everything's tight, there's about a half a turn of backlash on the depth adjustment knob. You're going to have a backlash on any plane that you use. This seems a little bit excessive, but it's not anything to be concerned about. Now, One thing I want to point out is on any plane that has any backlash at all, when you adjust the depth of the blade, for example, if you want to retract it, you're going to turn it counterclockwise. You want to make sure to turn it back until you feel it grab, so that you eliminate any movement of the blade because of that backlash. So it's just a little rule to keep in mind for any plane. One thing I want to point out is that there is no lateral adjustment on this plane to ensure that the cutting edge is parallel to the sole of the plane. But if you notice, when you take the lever cap off, the slot that engages the adjustment knob is elongated so that you can move that blade left and right just a little bit to make any adjustments for the lateral position. So overall, I think this guy is a keeper. And one thing I did do is soften the edges of this plane a little bit. They were a little bit rough yet, and I don't want that to scratch my wood, so I did go in with a file and some sandpaper and just kind of knock those sharp edges off. So overall, I think this plane is a good value for the money, and one that I would definitely keep in my apron pocket.